Bo, anytime a team goes to Coors Field, the ballpark and the altitude are topics of conversation in a very serious way. So let's take a look at some offensive numbers at Coors Field last year in 2018. Batting average on balls in play, yes, the highest in Major League Baseball. Not a shock there. But there's more on this front. Runs per game, second most of any ballpark in Major League Baseball last season. Triples per game, most in Major League Baseball. This one kind of surprising. Home runs per game, 2.72 per game, seventh in Major League Baseball. So maybe not as many homers as you might expect. But, Bo, let's take a look at the dimensions here at Coors Field and talk about why those triples numbers are so high and get into all of this. So you've played games at Coors Field in terms of, manager, coach. What is it about this ballpark that leads, obviously, the altitude, but more than that, that leads to all the triples that you see?
One, it's the largest outfield in Major League Baseball. And when you start to look at these gaps, 375, 390, and 415 straightaway center field, when you see those type of gaps and you know that the ball is going to fly, from an outfield standpoint, you want to make sure we have an old saying in football as a defensive back: if he's even, he's leaving.
Right.
This is a field where you want to stay on top of the baseball. You don't want to drift, and you want to make sure that you go full speed whenever the ball is hit over your head.
Okay, so doubles turn into triples at Coors Field. But, Bo, I've had a number of pitchers tell me that when they go to Coors Field, they worry not just about the extra base hits. They worry about the balls that are dropping in front of outfielders. Because those gaps are so deep, outfielders are playing a little bit deeper and maybe are expecting a ball to travel far. They break back on a ball, and then there are more balls that kind of bloop in front of outfielders than there would be in other ballparks. So how are you, as a coach, as a manager, telling your outfielders that you want them to play in Coors Field?
I think, contrary to popular opinion, this is, in my opinion, is a place where you actually want to play in. Because if an offensive player actually really tie into a baseball and hit it in Coors Field, it's either going to leave the yard or it's going to be off the wall. And in my opinion, one of the things you want to do really well here is play the ball off the wall. You see a lot of these balls that turn into triples. It's because the outfielder overrun the ball, and now they're having to chase the ball back out into the field of play after it hits the wall. You want to, once the ball clear your head, you know that you're not going to catch it. Turn around now, and you're going to be like a hockey goalie, and you're going to defend the baseball so that you get the ball right off of the wall, and now you're able to hit the cutoff man. It's very, very important in Coors Field. We talk about hitting the cutoff man.
Right.
This is one ballpark where you want to make sure you get the ball to that first cutoff man.
In terms of depth of outfielders, average compared to other ballparks, shallower, deeper, how would you want it?
I would say shallower compared to Coors Field, because obviously you have a bigger ballpark to cover. You just don't want to get sucked up to where you feel like I need to get further back because the park is so big. I think this is a ballpark where you play average depth to end and allow yourself to take everything in front of you away, knowing that the balls that are hit over your head are going to leave the park.
Yeah, they're going to travel there for sure. Okay, so, Bo, when you talk about pitchers at Coors Field, what's the most important thing there? You're worried about the long ball for sure, but if you're getting into a pitcher's head or you're trying to coach up a pitcher, what are you telling him is most important in this ballpark?
The most important thing in this ballpark is throwing strikes, and I would say strike one. Because what you don't want to do in Coors Field, you don't want to fall behind, and you don't want to get into predictable fastball counts and have to throw your fastball. If you have the ability to throw your secondary pitches, preferably a changeup, because we all know that breaking balls don't get as much spin in Coors Field because of the altitude. This is a park in which you want to use your changeup, you want to use it in hitters' counts so that you can induce weak contact.
Count leverage even more important and in Coors Field than other parks for pitchers?
Absolutely more important, because of the fact that, one, when you get really good fastball hitters, in Colorado have some pretty good fastball hitters.
Sure.
You don't want to get into predictable fastball counts and then have to throw your fastball in this ballpark and give them a chance to barrel it up.